Hey, real quick before we dive into the Hardcore Closer podcast, if you haven't already, jump over to hardcorecloser.com, sign up, and join over 20,000 sales professionals from around the world and receive free hardcore sales training every week after week that will help you step your game up. Now buckle up, closers. Here's Ryan. Let's do it.
Welcome to the Hardcore Closer podcast. I'm Ryan Stewman, founder and CEO of hardcorecloser.com, and this podcast is dedicated to helping the sales community close more deals. Listen, the reason why, we'll go off on a tangent right early on episode 2 here. The reason why this podcast is dedicated to helping the sales community close more deals is because the public needs us. Do you realize without salespeople, there would be all of these like cool inventions that nobody knew about. The world needs us salespeople. Like they may talk about us and say we're used car salesmen or whatever the case, but without us, we wouldn't know about iPhones. We wouldn't know about microphones that I'm on now. We wouldn't know about podcasts. Somebody is out there selling this stuff for the people that invent it, and you should be proud that you're one of them, and we're dedicated to help you. So it doesn't matter if you're selling cars, homes, financial services, consulting, coaching. This podcast is dedicated to helping you generate higher quality leads, increase your boy, that is a tongue twisting son of an intro there that I've written for myself. Increase your closing ratios and show you how to charge premium fees for the items you sell, and really how to create a raving fan base. It's one thing to be able to sell stuff. It's another thing to be able to sell quality stuff that people love and come back for. You know, one of the things we call in the internet marketing world, the ascension ladder. Oftentimes people that buy my $200 and $300 and $400 products will come back and end up investing $1,000, sometimes $25,000 in our stuff because the things that we put out are quality. And my sales staff knows that when they sell somebody something, it's going to change their life if they take action on it. So, hey, welcome to episode number 2 of the Hardcore Closer podcast. I'm glad you're here. I'm Ryan Stewman. If this is the first time that you're here, be sure to check out episode number 1. Yeah, the other one. And then also do me a favor, leave a review on iTunes, whether you give me a 1-star or 5-star, which of course you give me a 5-star, because how the hell am I going to be the Hardcore Closer and show up for some 1-star ass podcast, right? What kind of bullshit is that, right? But anyway, give me 5 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars, whatever you feel, right? But it's important, right? It helps the show out. It gets me ranked in the iTunes store so we can help more of the community. That's what this whole thing's about, right? I got other stuff to do. I'm here to help you make more sales, right? This is my way of being benevolent and giving back in another way besides my blogging and videos and everything else I do to the sales community, because I believe that we're on a mission, right? We can change the world as salespeople. If we sell the right stuff to the right people, the right things can absolutely happen. And that's why we put this. So today's session, we're going to be talking about how to make $1 million in sales. What do you think about that? Robert,
Me?
Producer Robert. Hello.
Yo,
hey,
what up, man? What up? Just listening. I think that I like where you're coming from with this, and just, you know, no matter what level they're at in sales right now, whether they're just getting in, whether they've been, you know, old school, disgruntled, veteran, whatever, like, you know, you can put this into action to start, you know, getting your first million. You know, why not, right?
You know, the first million is the hardest. I will say that as a person who's done it, right? Getting your first million is the hardest, right? And at this point, if you like averaged out how long I've been working, I've made a few million, right? Because I've made $250,000 a year or more for quite a while now. Probably, geez, man, for like a decade maybe. So it's been a while that I've been in the 6-figure range, right? So adding all that up, I can say getting to your first million is hard though. You know, there's a lot of people out there that, you know, their parents give them a job or a company or whatever, and they're able to take it from, you know, $1 million company to a $20 million company or whatever. And that's cool because it's easier to go from 1 million to 20 million. We're going to talk about your first million here, right, in this show today. But I want to give you an example. Loan officers oftentimes come to me. They work with me one-on-one. That's one of my main sources of clients. That's because I was a bad mamma jamma slinging mortgages. And I help these guys now that sell way more mortgages than I do. And when they come to me, if they're like doing $1 million a month, I really can't help them. That's not a big level of production. It's like 4 or 5 houses max for most people. And I really can't help them because it's hard. I mean, I can help them, but I can't help them in the same way because it's hard to get from that 1 to 5 million. It is. But the guys that come to me that are already doing 5 million and 10 million, and Robert introduced me to this doing 50 million a month, those guys are easy to take to the next level because they already have momentum, right? They've got the money, they've got the capital, they've got the team and everything else to be able to pull off doubling their production, right? And it's pretty easy to double. As crazy as it sounds, if you're doing 10 million a month, it's pretty easy to get to 20. It's just a matter of scaling what you've done at 10 and ramping it up, right? But if you're doing 1, million a month, it's really hard to get to that too, because you have to double down on your work. You don't have the capital to build a team in many cases, or to invest in coaching and all the other things that you're going to need along the way to get there. So I'm not saying that people don't do it. I'm just saying it's not as often, and it's not as easy. So we're going to talk today about making $1 million in sales. And you might be listening to this going, I sell cars. There's no way I can make $1 million. My friend, that is bullshit. You may be listening to this saying, I sell roofs. I've got to knock doors. I sell meat. There's no way I can make $1 million doing what I do. And I'm gonna, what do you call it? Like, dispel that myth for you today. Okay. Because I've done things that right now, some of the things I say, you're not supposed to be able to make $1 million a year in it, but we do. And we're going to talk about that. And it's not just making $1 million over the time that you've worked. We're talking about in 12 months. And I know there's a lot of coaches and gurus and shit like that out there that say that, but I'm going to give you like tax return, matter of fact numbers from myself and people that I know, right? Their names may be changed to protect the innocent, but probably not. And I'm going to talk about people that are doing, the things that you probably have the excuses for not doing. So let's just jump in. All right. So here's the thing. $1 million, but let's take this back to my car wash days. Like when I was washing cars, to make $100,000 a year seemed crazy, man. That was what my dad made, the general manager. And to me, he lived like this grand life, right? Like, wow, man, they got their own house. It's nice. They got Mercedes, big Ford pickup truck, right? Like $100,000 must be a lot of money. And maybe it was in the 90s. I don't know. But then in the early 2000s, when I made my first 6-figure year, I think it was 2004, it was like, oh man, this wasn't anything near like I thought it was, right? Like there's no gold mansion waiting at the end of this paycheck for me, right? All I've got's a W-2 and a tax bill. Son of a bitch, right? So then I decided that $100,000 wasn't going to be enough. But there was no one around me making $1 million. My first goal was $500,000, but there was nobody around me making $500,000. I was the friend that made all the money. Matter of fact, most of my other friends got pissed off at me because I was the one with the money. Which is cool because they didn't mooch off of me, right? I guess I could have had the other friends that were like, oh man, he's the one with the money, let's blow his shit. So I guess that worked out. Yay for me. But I knew that $100,000 wasn't that much. And if you're not making $100,000 in a year right now, I'm not talking down to you in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I'm trying to lift you up. And here's the truth though. If you make $100,000, you're getting 74 back after taxes. That's if you live in Texas, where there's no state tax. If you live somewhere else, you're probably going to get somewhere around 70 back. Then you're going to have to pay for health care. Then you're going to have to pay for insurance, like on your cars and stuff like that. You level up, right? You make $100,000 a year. You're not driving a Honda Accord anymore. All of a sudden, you're driving a BMW 5 Series. You make $100,000 a year. You're not living in a $400 a month apartment. You're living in a $1,200 plus a month apartment. You make $100,000 a year, your lifestyle goes up because you're trying to show those around you that you make $100,000 a year. After all, that's why we go to work and sell this shit, right? And then all of a sudden you look up and you have no money left at the end of the year, and you're like, dude, when I was making $50,000 a year, I was saving 10 of it. And so think about that for a second. It's really not that much because we level up when we make $100,000. Very few of us have the discipline to make $100,000 and live at 50,000. We all say we're going to do it. You're probably saying that right now. Like, well, I know when I get there, it's bullshit. You're in sales. You're not like, maybe the financial planners that listen to this have the discipline, but those dudes, we love you, right? But you guys would be the only exception to the rule. So here's the thing. I knew $100,000 wasn't enough. So I started doing mortgages, got to $250,000. I knew that wasn't enough either because I had things that I wanted to do. Right now, there's two types of people in this world, I believe, that get to that 6-figure mark. They're happy, satisfied, content, and they go into scarcity mode, like, don't screw this up. Right? Like, I finally got here, I'm making $100,000, $200,000, $500,000. Don't screw it up. Just stay right here and then retire on the company's dime. Right? Well, I didn't have that choice. And the other type of person is like, how much more can I get? So there's this scarcity, like, I can't believe I made it here. Holy shit, I'm not going to let this go at any means. And then there's well, what else can we do? How much? It's like that episode of Seinfeld where they're like driving the car past empty. It's like, well, how much further can we go? And so that's the type of person I am. I'm like, okay, we did pretty good with the $100,000, but what if I could use some of this $100,000 or $250,000 to invest in homes, right? And then we could flip a few homes a year, and that ain't bring another $250,000. Then I'm sitting at $500,000. But the problem is I didn't have anybody around me who had done that. So I bought an info product. Robert Allen, no money down real estate. I got so good at flipping homes, and I end up making 700 grand in 2005, right? 773 grand 2005. Gross income, obviously you got net and all that other shit that CPAs write off and all that stuff. But and so from there, that year, right, I became a speaker for this thing called Radical Real Estate, I believe it was called, but they like subcontracted me to come out and talk at these things about how, hey, just 2 years ago I was washing cars and now, 7 figures in real estate income kind of a thing. And I killed it, obviously, which was what allowed me to get from flipping houses for $250,000, earning $250,000. And then I also made another $250,000 or so selling these little 15, I think they were $2,497, $2,497 each. And then they upsold them, and I got a commission on that too. Anyway, and it allowed me to do a shit ton of mortgages because the people that were going to the no money down real estate investing thing needed no money down loans. And guess what? I got them, right? So, it was like an endless flow of cash, and it worked really well until the feds kicked my door in. And if you want to know that story, you can read about it in the Hardcore Closer book. Like, the whole thing is in there. It is a tragic comedy of hilariousness. Anyway, so I knew that I had to get 7 figures, and I knew at this point I'd already made it, but I hadn't made it in a year. Then I had a setback, obviously, with the law, right? I had to get a corporate job. The corporate job allowed me again, stay right around the $200,000 mark, right? But I always wanted more. Well, a couple of years ago, I started going through divorce proceedings and separated from my son's mother. And when they were evaluating the company, the Hardcore Closer, they were like, well, your company's not really worth anything. And my lawyer calls and he's like, hey, this is really good news because now you don't have to split a whole bunch of money with somebody. And I'm like, well, I'm leaving this for my son. She's a good woman. She'll take care of him. That's not the issue anyway, but that's scary as hell that I have a company that's not worth money. And he's like, well, think about it, dude. You die tomorrow. What are your consulting clients going to pay for? I had no sales team, nothing. And so I thought, working in this industry, I knew that it was possible to make $1 million, but dude, I knew I thought I could do it on my own, and I couldn't. So I put I looked at my situation after the lawyer told me that, my company was essentially worthless, and if I died, nobody would pay. And I thought about my son, right? He still needs the finer things in life, and his mother can provide for him, sure, but I want to provide above and beyond that for him, and for Amy and Asher. And so, it was like a reality call. So I started scaling things up, and I started leveling up, and I started playing the game of how much more can we pay? If I put this much money into advertising, how much more can we pull out? If we put this much more in advertising, how much more can we pull out? And we've been building and building and building ever since. And we're well beyond multiple 7 figures this year that we're on track to do. Dude, we are just lighting the world up. And you can see in our Sales Talk with Sales Pros group that people love what we're doing. We're changing lives. Man, there was a guy that just posted in there this morning, Alex Jimenez. He says, I wanted to thank Lindsay and Ryan for reaching out when my mother passed away. My boss at my job didn't even say anything about it, but you guys, having 100,000 people on social media, took the time to reach out to me and tell me sorry. Sorry for your loss. And so that's what we do, though. We care about our people. We have thousands of clients right now. We care about them, right? Something like that happens. This dude's boss didn't even give a shit, right? Like, this dude's making the boss money every single month because he's a producer if he's in my crew. You can believe that. So he's making the boss money every single month. Boss doesn't even acknowledge him. Well, guess what else happened? He switched jobs, right? He went to work with one of my other tribe members. But see, it's like we care, right? That's what made us different. So we started playing this game. And you can see the marketplace started loving us. They just needed to know about us. And so here's what I want to tell you. It's possible to make $1 million, but it's not always possible to do it alone. But if you put a team together, you make multiple millions of dollars. You see, my team makes less than 50%. So if they bring in $3 million in revenue this year, you can do the math. Minus operating expenses and advertising, which we're running, $30,000 a month right now in advertising. But you think about that, like you think, well, but it's not possible in selling cars, Ryan. You're talking about sales training online. We know Cardone makes a few million a month and all this stuff, right? You're like, you're talking about something where there's Tom Ferry and all these other guys that are making a lot of money doing this, right? Tony Robbins, Frank Kern, Kevin Nations, these guys are getting paid. So you're not in an industry where that seems impossible, but I sell insurance or I sell meat door to door, or I sell cars. I move steel, right? Well, let's talk about that. Somebody in your industry is making $1 million right now per year, probably more. Probably the person you work for. because they've done what I just talked about. They've scaled the team. You're part of that team. Bro, you're on the team, dude, right? Like you're part of that team. And they've scaled that team, and with you a part of it, to make themselves $1 million. What's keeping you from doing the same thing? I said you can make $1 million no matter what you sell. I didn't say you had to make $1 million being in sales, because here's the big paradigm shift that happened to me when my lawyer and I had this conversation. The paradigm shift was real simple. I had to make the shift from salesperson to CEO. It was that simple. I go and I meet with my CPA, who happens to be my neighbor, great guy, Stoner Albright. If you need a CPA, like if you're a baller and you need a CPA, because he is expensive, he is the best, but holy shit, he is awesome. Gene Stoner with Stoner Albright here in Dallas, Texas. I go down there to see Gene, and Gene tells me, he says, you've got to start acting like a CEO and stop thinking like a salesperson. If we're going to take this company public, or if we're going to sell it off, or if we're going to create a legacy here, we need to make you start thinking like someone that's operating a business, not just somebody selling sales training. Whoo, that stung so bad, because man, like that's me. I'm a salesman. That's, if you read any of my bios anywhere, it says I'm a salesman, a dad, and blah, 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 whatever, right? Like salesman's my title. And I really had to switch that. And if you'll read, I think I've actually switched my Instagram stuff out to where it's CEO salesman, right? Something like that, because I've had to really shift my language and my thinking. And you are too, if you're going to make the big money. So you see where you've got where you're at right now, doing what you've always done. And so if you continue to make 100 grand, 200 grand, 50 grand, whatever that number is for you, and you've been doing that for the last 5 years, that's called a plateau. That means you've made it to the top of where it is that you want to go. The only way to go from there is to start scaling up, to take risks, to start hiring people. I remember the first time at TexasLending.com when I was their top producer, 3 months in a row, the CEO came up to me, great dude. He says, hey man, we need you to take on this guy, Bob. You need an assistant. And I'm like, dude, I got this. I'm the lone wolf, 6 shooters and all, son, right? Like I got this. And they're like, no. We're going to fire this guy. And we don't want to, because he's old. He was like 63 years old, but you need an assistant. So just like try him out for a month. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You going to pay for me to have an assistant? They're like, no. You got to pay him. It's $2,500 a month. I'm like, what? This is like the worst deal ever. Hey, but being the only convict in the whole entire company, they just basically rub me out, right? They're like, this dude's making money. We're just going to like, just put some little guilt over him. He ain't going anywhere. Like anyway, but I love those guys. So we're still friends to this day. And so anyway, Bob comes to work for me, and, I didn't at first have that like extra $2,000, right? I'm a salesperson. All of a sudden I'm out, new cars, new house, all this stuff, everything that we do when we go get money. And all of a sudden I'm $2,500, which I wasn't used to spend. I didn't even spend that on my mortgage, right? And $2,500 for somebody else that may end up costing me time and money and training and anything else. But I can tell you, with his help, I went from making about $12,000 a month all the way up to, we were pulling in $250,000 in 2009 when it was like the worst year ever in mortgages. Bob and I, 65 years old, man, I had that dude whipping young dudes on the phone, right? That's when I first realized I was good at training people to do shit. Like I have been training people at the car washes all those years how to wash windows and stuff like that. The sales training was different. But when I turned Bob into like the second best closer in the whole damn company, I think he's still the CEO's personal assistant now that I'm not there. And this was, 2009 and 10. But, that was when I first knew that, hey, man, I can train anybody. Because this old dude was like print off emails and like keep them in a folder. I remember the first day, I'm like, dude, you got to knock that off, right? If you print out another email, I'm going to break your fucking printer, right? Like Office Space style, like fuck that. Don't print shit off. Save it in your fucking folders here. And it's kind of like, went from there, right? Like established dominance, like prison, established dominance, move forward, right? So anyway, back to the $1 million a year. So you've just got to start building your team. If you're at where you're at now and you feel like you've plateaued, it's time that you take a risk. I had to take that $2,500 a month risk. What if Bob didn't produce? What if that fucker would have kept printing emails, right? That was a risk I had to take though, but I'm glad I took the risk and it paid off. Now, trust me, I've taken a lot of risks that haven't paid off, hence the long freaking prison record and everything else. But what good is life if you didn't take any risk? Just think about it. Like, what better to have tried and failed and learned a lesson than to be an armchair quarterback? Just think about that. What if you did go start your own line? I got a guy I know here in Dallas, Dave. I don't know him that well, but I've watched him online or whatever. The dude got out of same place I was in, right? But it should probably put his business out there like that. But anyway, I'm proud to see what he's done. He's hustled up from the ground. He started a car company, like where he was just like repoing, tote the note stuff. He's built it into a 300 unit a month car lot. This dude's driving Lamborghinis, legit living. This dude's driving Lamborghinis. He's like living the high life, printing money. He's taken all the other guys that were the top producers at another place. They're all working for him now, making like money left and right. And it's cool to see that happen for him, right? But he didn't do that by himself. He built a team. And here's what happens when you start building a team. It's kind of like that movie, The Longest Yard, right? The shit shows up. Right? Like when I first started saying, hey, Hardcore Closer is open for hire, the people that showed up were shit because I didn't have a proven track record of making anybody money but myself and my client. So how could a salesperson maybe make money? So nobody with any quality was really willing to risk being on my team at that time. Sounds like a good idea, but fuck it. I don't see anybody else getting paid but him selling the stuff. It's kind of sketchy. So you take these risks at first, but then as you start building an empire and you and your like when me and Bob Bolt, when we were killing it in mortgages, my buddy Jason Sammons left like a $20,000 a month job to come work with us, and he joined the team, and then he started killing it, making more money. Up until his recent venture, that was the most money he'd ever made in his life. We were killing it because I attracted another player because I had the track record. Hey man, if this 63-year-old dude over here is making $7,000 a month, surely your ass can make at least 15, right? Right? That's the conversations when I have people that join my team right now, like Johnny Ringold. You know, he came to me. The dude's had, $50,000 months in his lifetime as a GM for a big ass dealership. The dude's seen people like Roxanne have success in this company. He wants in on it. He took the risk. I'm taking the risk too by sending him my stuff. He's paying off really well. Same thing with my buddy Glenn Smith that's now working with us. He took the risk. He left his loan officer job that was offered on the table, his capital development job, and came over here. Already successful, making multiple six figures a year, but he sees the vision. And now he's closing sales left and right over here because we help people. It's hard not to close a sale from the Hardcore Closer camp, because what happens usually is they say, hey, my best friend told me that this is where he learned how to do XYZ, dude. Where can I get that program? How much is it? Right? That's usually how our sales are. People love us so much they refer us left and right. And that's how you make $1 million. Ladies and gentlemen, no matter what you sell, you build a team. You don't think like a salesman. You think like a CEO. You scale the damn thing. And you create a raving fan base, right? Without a raving fan base, and Kim Blanchard, I know that's his book and it's, but I can't think of a better way to phrase it, so I'm just going to say it. Raving fans are the best source. I mean, like if you're doing your job right, you create raving fans. If you're not doing your job right, what the easiest way to tell is you have no raving fans. Right now, my fans enjoy my and I hate even calling them fans because I really feel like we're just a community, right? But like Facebook calls them a fan. But I seen a post this morning where somebody was like, I was mentioning something about being a closer, and the guy's like, you couldn't close a barn door. And I replied, I was like, well, I live in a penthouse. I don't have a barn, you fucking redneck, right? Like, who the hell are you talking about a barn door, right? Just being like funny. And dude, the people that are just random fans that I don't even have conversations with, maybe one or two of them I've chatted with from time to time. And they just like, dude, I felt bad for the poor guy. I'm sure he'll delete his comment, right? But that's because they bought my shit. They know it's not the fact that can I close or can I close. It's fucking apparent that I can close. I'm making money in sales, right? But it's the fact that they're like, hey, we love this guy and what he's done for our lives so much that if you like, fuck you. Right? Like, you can't say shit about this dude because he's benevolent as fuck. He gave us so much free shit before we even decided to buy. And then when we bought his shit, it changed our lives, right? These guys would go, like one of them even said, dude, I fucking step in front of a bullet for that motherfucker. He's made me so much money. That's a raving fan base, right? That's what people fucking love you because you're delivering the best. And so you need to ask yourself today, if you're going to make 7 figures, no matter what it is you sell, do you sell the best? Can you become the best, right? Like, can you create the dealership like Coast did over there and become the best? That's the question you need to start asking yourself. The answer is yes, and it's time that you scale up and step out and take that risk too. So, hey, if you enjoyed this show, make sure you go over to iTunes and rate and review us. But check this out, right? I got this free software called Clyxo, Clyxo.com. You can find me there, Clyxo.com/closer. Hey, sign up for free. It takes less than 2 minutes to sign up. It makes your life completely easy. Notice I didn't sit here and say, find me on Instagram at Ryan Stewman. Well, I got a Hardcore Closer account too, or you can find me on Facebook or Snapchat or whatever. Like, no, I didn't. I just said, find me in one place, connect with me wherever the hell you want, right? I'm going to make your life that easy too. It's completely free. It takes less than 2 minutes to sign up. Use my logo on your website, your emails, your business card, save space, save time, save print costs, save all that shit. I've hooked you up. It'll be 100% for free forever. Just go over to Clyxo.com/closer. And second of all, if you're a loan officer, real estate agent, insurance agent, somebody in that line of business, Check out bfadigital.com. There's a letter there waiting for you to tell you a little bit about what's going on. Just go over to www. Do we even really need to say that anymore? Whatever. www.bfa, as in Break Free Academy, bfadigital.com. I'll do the digital dash. You got any future fans out there? Dude, I went to a concert 2 weeks ago with some straight sales closers too, to this future concert. That shit was turned. It was the most fun I have ever had in my entire life. I was turned up with it too. It was awesome. That's a show. He created a Raving fan. I'm here talking about him on my show, right? That's because he created a Raving fan. He over delivered. So, hey, Robert, you got anything you want to add, or we out on this one?
Nah, man, we're gone, man.
All right. Thanks for listening. Make sure you review us on iTunes and share this on social media. Later.